Our panel will be about social issues and cosplay, because cosplay should be for everyone, but nowadays this statement is not true anymore, because as this community grew, it was divided and there become some issues in this topic too. But that doesn't mean that it should be that way. So we will now talk about manage these issues and how can we make a better outcome of it. So, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when we talk about social issues?
I think for me, in the cosplay community, it's like bullying and cyberbullying that happens a lot. At least I'm from Italy, so like in my country, it's really a plague for us, because like there is so many people that have this habit, this very bad habit of judging what the other cosplayers are doing, like, and telling them you're not a real cosplayer, what you're doing is wrong, and this is like, I think it's the worst kind of gatekeeping that we see in the cosplay community. Go Pixel.
Okay.
The same question.
For me, it's more like I totally agree with you on this point. I think it's also about I'm a better cosplayer than you because I sew my costume on my own, or just comparing yourself to others too much. And I think this is also like a really big issue, because everybody is like, how you should do it this way and not that way. And it's not true, because you can cosplay however you want, actually.
Yeah, I always say that there are so many ways to cosplay as there are cosplayers. You know, everyone has their own unique way to cosplay, and everyone is valid.
I mean, you can see it when people like doing makeup, and some really stay to the character and really doing the makeup like the character wears it, and some just creating a little bit of their own makeup style, or just adjust some things so it fits better to the face. And it's, I think, a perfect example of that both things can be perfectly right, because as long as the people are enjoying what they're doing, it's the right way for them, and it's a hobby. It should be bringing fun to people and not just separate persons from each other.
Yeah, I totally agree. About this topic, I think social issues can come from two different platforms. One, which you just said, is the cyberbullying, so the social media side, and the other one is the in-person side. So I think we should talk a bit about the first social issue, which I think came up with cosplaying, was the cosplay is not consent part. So are there any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that's a very important campaign. For those who don't know, it's a campaign that was launched, I think, in New York Comic Con some years ago, to raise awareness against harassment of cosplayers. It's actually not just about that, because it's about like the cosplayers' personal space in general. We are here to have fun, even like guests are here to have fun, to meet people, yes, but like there are personal physical boundaries that shouldn't be crossed without asking. So when like you want to take a picture of a cosplayer, you should ask the cosplayer if they're okay with it. If you see a cosplayer that is like not in a bad mood, not in a good mood, or that is eating, or that is doing their stuff, go in there and like, hey, can I have a picture, can be really annoying. And of course there is the touching part, because that's how it started, right? Like cosplayers are not like objects. I mean, we dress up as characters we love, and that many people in the conventions love as well. But to touch somebody is not something you do lightly. You wouldn't go to somebody in the street and just put an arm around their waist, right? Same thing with the cosplayers. If you ask for a picture, ask if you can hug them, ask if, because most of the times we're okay with it, but like the person you're talking to is a stranger who is having fun and you cannot know what their history is, right?
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I totally agree with you. I think I even had some like times in convention where I maybe not slept well and didn't feel like it, and people were like going over my boundaries. And I think it's always like you should treat people how you like to be treated. Would you like that somebody is coming up on street and just hug you randomly? I don't think so. Like, or even if you're okay, maybe like you told, people have history, and you just want to have, because for me, I just want to give people a good feeling. So I should ask first what is okay and what is not okay. So both are, because like you said, most of the time it's totally fine, and so you can bring more happiness to people just with a simple question.
And one more important thing, I think when you have trouble or someone doesn't really want to understand these boundaries, you should go and ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask help. Because, for example, here on MondoCon we have the staff, and if you tell them your problem, they can help. We can act on the spot, but we can't help you when it's over, the convention is over.
Yeah, and I want to add, like, since like we know that like even sexual harassment happens at conventions, it happened to me, it happened to so many friends I know. When it happens, as you said, we need to talk to the security, we need to make awareness. Even if you see it happening, you should do something, you know? I mean, I get it that somebody can be scared of like intervening in a situation, but usually what happens at conventions is that like some people like touch cosplayers without asking, or like it happened in my country with a photographer that he was taking pictures of a girl, and to make her pose, he was actually, you know, crossing boundaries, and somebody saw it happening, went there and was like, "Are you okay?" And the girl was crying and saying, "No, I'm not." And then they went to the police, and this guy went to prison. They actually charged him. So yeah, it can happen. But if you see a person, like especially if they're like in a corner isolated, they may be freezing, they may be not realizing what's happening, or they may be too scared to do something about it. So if you see it happening, you just go there. You don't have to fight people. You just go there and say, hey, are you okay? Is everything fine? Because that's most of them stops it.
Yeah, I think it's a very good advice. And as you mentioned, photographers, actually you have a topic about how to communicate with photographers, yes?
Yes, I have like, I gave workshops about like how to set up good photo shoots and stuff like that, but it also contains one slide about that you should always be respectful, and this is like obviously respectfully, just to ask what is okay, what is not okay, because even some of my photographers just go sometimes to me and just like maybe moving my arm to the side because it's blocking, like, or the angle looks better this way, and it's totally okay, but because they spoke with me beforehand, or they even asked me first time, is it okay that I touch you, and just rearranged some stuff, like just to make the picture looks better. And this is totally fine if you speak about it. It's like always so much about communication, actually.
Yeah, actually, when I see a photographer asking somebody to, can I touch you to move? Can I move your hand? That's really like a green flag, because like you can see that the photographer is not like, you know, not invading your space, he's just trying to make the picture better.
What I think is so important that sometimes maybe, because you're maybe friends or at least acquaintance, because you know the photographer, maybe if he's touching you without like permission, I don't think it's a totally red flag because he was just not thinking about it. Obviously, if it's like in really like unappropriated way, it's a totally different point. But if he's just like rearranged my arm, and I think this is also like a big important point, just if somebody is really uncomfortable, just try to speak up. Like if it's like a friend of you, just like, hey, I maybe don't like when you move my arm without my permission. I think most of like good people will totally agree, and they will be like, I'm sorry, I will think about it next time. Because I also had a photographer who come to me and just moved me around, and I just said, okay, next time please ask me beforehand, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I just were like tired, I didn't, and he asked every next time, and it was totally fine. So you shouldn't like not just communicate with the person. If it's an uncomfortable situation, you should like really reach out for help. I think there's some specific signs, even in my community in Germany, where people like doing some kind of hand sign to me, and I have it with my friends, especially female friends. When there are people, we have like kind of special hand sign, or we have the sentence, where is Sarah? And Sarah is just like there's no Sarah, it's just like a sentence to say, I feel uncomfortable, can you get me out of the situation?
That's actually very clever. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah. Okay, so another part where I think there are issues, and we were talking at the beginning a bit about it, but I want to go a bit, how can I say, deeper, is that cosplay is for everyone, regardless of color or gender or anything, body type, you name it. So let's talk about this and how can we, because this could be a part of bullying too, because someone thinks that because, I don't know, you're a bit chubby, you shouldn't, I don't know, cosplay Sailor Moon, or because you're, I don't know, you have darker colored skin, you shouldn't cosplay someone, or because you're a boy or a girl, you shouldn't cosplay this or that character. I think we should talk about this, and we should talk about how can we manage these situations.
Okay. Yeah, as you said, like there shouldn't be barriers for people of any kind to cosplay. Unfortunately, we know there are. We know that what happens to like cosplayers that have a body which is not according like to the beauty standards of society. We know what happens to disabled cosplayers. We know what happens to black cosplayers that are made invisible usually by the community. And there's, I think that's when you're part of a minority like that. I mean, I'm using minority as a word which is really wrong actually, but like when you're part of a social group that is discriminated and you get into cosplay, you should be in a safe space. That's the aim, right? But you're not. And I think that we, as a community, should start to listen to these people and to start recognizing what the signs are, because like it's not common in the cosplay community to see like very violent attacks, like based on gender, based on race. It's really hard to see that, but you see a lot of micro aggressions on social media. I have a lot of black friends, and some of them, whenever they cosplay a white character, they get like called, oh, you're black Makima, you're black Denji. And even if it's not done with like the intention to be like racist, to insult the person, it's really bad to do it. It can be really triggering for them. And like, for instance, I am transgender, so I'm part of the LGBTQ community. Whenever I cosplay female characters, I get the Star Wars meme, it's a trap under my pictures a lot. And I am like an adult, I know how to handle it, but like to some other people, it can be really bad to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if they are just figuring out that they are transgender or something.
And like nowadays, there's so many cosplayers that belong to the transgender umbrella. They're like non-binary people. We have so many labels now, but like in the cosplay community, we are a lot, really a lot, and we are getting more and more people into it. Like you see more and more people going to conventions with like rainbow flags and LGBTQ symbols, or even the pop culture is giving LGBTQ characters way more visibility than before. So this is an issue that, of course, it's beyond cosplay, but in our community, we should aim to make it like a safe space for everybody.
I cannot add so much to, like, you're totally right with everything you say. I think it's also about when people are maybe, when other people say people are too chubby to cosplay character or so, it's not about that. Like when I started cosplaying, and I was super slim actually, and like even now some body types which are like the characters are not like realistic even. And I think you should, I really like the sentence, always happy, never satisfied, because you can always improve yourself. And if you want to change something about your body, you want to change it, not because other people want you to look like this, but you say, because I started to work out because of cosplay, because I wanted to like have like a little bit different body type, but it was like really, I think when you try to change yourself because of society, it will always fail, because it's not like coming from like inside that you really want to change something about yourself, which maybe makes you more happy. And I think this is really important point that, I don't know, I can really, for me it's so not understandable when you go to a person and say, oh, you're like a Denji, like he's cosplaying Denji, it doesn't care what kind of color.
It's just Denji, right? Yeah.
It's like, and I don't know, lately I'm already 9 years in cosplay community and in convention community over 10 years, and I just really, even right now when you were on the booth and people walking by and they're just looking good, and then I just go out of the booth and say, oh, you're looking so pretty in that costume, because it's just like, this is the most fun thing about cosplay, really, like, it's such a phrase, sharing happiness, but for me it's really like that. This is what gives me like nice times in cosplay community.
Yeah, I think the same, I agree. As I said before, cosplay should be about having fun and just be the character you would like to be for a day. Be the character you adore for a day. Let's talk about a bit about what do you think counts a cosplay, because this also stirs up a bit of tension.
Okay, I think that as long as it's respectful, and then I will elaborate on this, everything can count as cosplay. I mean, of course, you need to be in a costume somehow, some sort of costume. You need to be playing a character, right? But that's it. Like, cosplay is costume and play. That's it, right? Of course, there are some boundaries that the community is trying to like promote, you know, push, because like some things, even some pieces of pop culture can be really damaging and really triggering for some people, right? So that's why there is a strong movement against changing your skin color for cosplay. Exactly, because you said like cosplay is for everyone, so why we should change our skin color to become more similar to our character? We just cosplay him or her, right? You know. So and of course, normally it would be okay if I want to cosplay Avatar and I want to turn myself blue. That's fine. But if I cosplay a black character, and I darken my skin, I'm gonna steer a history of discrimination for those people, and that's really hurtful. And so if you listen, again, as I said at the beginning, if you listen to minorities, if you listen to people that are discriminated, and to what is okay and what is not, there is like a thin line sometimes. Blackface is not a thin line, it's a huge line, but like there are others, like the Manji, the whole Manji drama from Tokyo Revengers. I think Pixel can speak of it way better than me.
Yeah, like the Manji sign in Tokyo Revenger, which they have on their jacket, it's like a sign in Germany with a lot of bad, horrible history, like from the Second World War. And it's actually illegal to wear it in Germany, and people still doing it. Sometimes because they just don't know, because maybe they're too young, I don't know, or like it's just illegal and you shouldn't wear it. Because, to be honest, for an example, I wanted, if you watched Kane from League of Legends, I wanted to cosplay Echo, and he has like darker skin tone. And I was like, I'm a person, I really want to be super accurate. But as you said, but then I decided for myself, okay, I won't cosplay this character because I wouldn't be satisfied with myself not being so close to the character. But I know that it's like, I don't want to kind of like paint myself darker, because like you said, it's like a long, long, painful history for these people. And this is not like, it's just cosplay. I have like so many characters I can cosplay, and when I'm such a perfectionist and say I want to do it this way, but this is not like your personal preferences about a costume shouldn't be getting over maybe hurting or like, yeah, like just doing this kind of stuff. So I think really just go for, like, you have always so many options to cosplay. Never cosplay like never blackface. It's not.
Yeah. And, you know, like there are characters that, like sometimes pop culture takes from history, right? Like they take real characters and put them into anime, they put them into movies. That's like a tricky thing to do, like for cosplayers, because like we had recently in Italy a couple of guys cosplaying as the serial killer from the new Netflix series. I don't remember the name of the guy, but who is like, yeah, the main character of a TV series. So technically, you could cosplay, right? That because like it's a character. It's in a TV series on Netflix, which is nowadays pop culture generally, but he is also a real person. He was a real person that hurt so many people. And cosplaying it, like, is really, you know, not tasteful. And there are so many people that maybe suffered from similar actions, you know, that have been through bad moments in their life due to criminals and stuff like that. And if you cosplay a real person, you're stepping over the line, in my opinion. If you want to cosplay a serial killer, there are plenty of fictional options like Jason and whatever, like Scream, you know?
Yeah. Okay. There is one thing which is not that kind of a social issue, but it could be. I don't know what you experienced, but I think in Hungary, the cosplayers who are competing are more self-cautious than before, because there are less cosplayers. Maybe it's because there are a lot of cosplays you can buy now, so they spare the time doing the cosplay by themselves. But my last question for you is, what do you think? How can we encourage cosplayers to make their own cosplays and actually maybe compete
for the stage?
Yes.
Okay. In Italy, we've got a huge problem for that. Like, I think some people are making it bigger than it is, but we've seen numbers in competitions go low and low, to the point that we couldn't select a team for WCS this year, and they postponed the selection to next April because none of the team was on the right level. I think that there are two factors. The first one is bullying, because the competitive community, at least in Italy, had turned so toxic. I stopped competing. I haven't competed for 5 years because like it was so toxic that I couldn't just, you know, think of going into a backstage in that kind of atmosphere. And I think those people who are like, oh, like in their 30s, they're not like young, really ruined that part, especially the huge, big competitions. Nowadays, we're getting a new wave of cosplayers. I've been judging a lot this year, and I've seen so many cosplayers like who are like even 16, 17 high school people, or like 20, 21, like very young people like coming on stage. And I think TikTok has a lot to do with it. Because when cosplay went all about photography some years ago, we had like a shift towards cosplay photography became a huge thing, right? But now there is another shift, and the photography part took out the play from cosplay somehow. I mean, it's a little bit too much to say this, because of course there is a lot of interpretation in photos as well, and I love taking photo shoots, but it's different from acting your character, right? And TikTok is bringing this thing back a lot. So, and I think it's great because I'm enjoying it a lot. Like I've been always a competition person, and I stopped because what I told you about, and like nowadays I'm doing TikToks and getting the same vibes, right? So I think that competitions should do two things. First, like, I don't mean like punish bullies that actually behave badly, but like try to make the environment better, you know? As a judge, I always try to smile to contestants, to be as nice as I can, because I know how challenging and scary can be, right? To go on a stage, or to come into a prejudging room and see like very experienced people looking at you with the goal to see if you're good enough. So like this is what goes in your mind when you go into a judging room. So I think that competitions should like make the environment better. Maybe like do prejudging only for like huge where it's needed, and not for like performance. You guys, I think, are doing a great job, because like dividing the competitions, like giving the cosplayers a space on stage, even for people that buy their costumes, as you said, you would probably gather way more people to go on stage, because those that are like, you know, now having fun on TikTok, they would probably love to go. But maybe they are stopped because they know they didn't make their costumes. They know that they think they're not good enough and stuff like that. So making the environment better, encouraging people to go, and giving this new wave of cosplayers their own kind of competition, I think it's way better.
What are your thoughts?
I was thinking a lot when Emiril was talking. I guess really, I think you're doing a great job here in Hungary, because really your community is so supportive, actually, because we had yesterday a contestant who broke her hammer on stage and needed to go down, and was kind of sad because the whole performance was ruined. And then she came back up again, and it was so nice to see that everybody was like hyping for her so much, and like really she got so much good feedback that she was going back on stage. She was later on our booth, and we both told her, you did an amazing job going back up there. And I think really, maybe I was really thinking, I never had so many thoughts in my mind about how to make it better, but right now I think a competition where you can even go with bought costumes is a nice entry to this whole contestant thing, because if you're going on stage and you see that people actually enjoying seeing you on stage, and you just, like, even with a bought costume, you just perform something and you see people loving it, maybe you think next time, I want to, like, maybe make my own costume and bringing up some nice performance.
Yeah, you're gonna, like, you're gonna push the others in the backstage. And I think that, like, we've always had categories in cosplay competitions. Apart from the huge ones, like, that's okay, that needs to be elite, you know, because, like, there are international competitions and stuff. That's another level. But in, like, competitions at conventions open to everybody, right? We've always had categories like best costume, best performance. So if conventions start to think through those categories in order to make everybody coming on stage able to win something, you know what I mean? Like, there is somebody that maybe are buying their costumes, but are very good at makeup or very good at wig making or very good at prop making and vice versa. So if you, like, start giving prizes like best wig, best makeup, best prop, best costume overall, best performance, you can even divide, I saw it in a competition in Italy, they divided performance from acting, which was really good because, like, they gave best performance to the overall skit and best acting to who actually was really in character so much. And of course, you need a lot of people on stage to give so many prizes, but I think that if you start putting categories in that fashion, people will jump on stage.
I think it's not even about that you need to give so much expensive prizes or so. I think even if you say, you can go up on stage and getting, like, a little gift or something like that, and then people going on stage, and I think when people applause for them, it's already, like, such a nice thing. Really, I only had, because I really wanted to go more on contests, but it was before Corona, so, but back then I participated in one contest, and it was such a nice feeling, actually, because people are there, people rooting for you, and it's just like, and sometimes people, I think you have a good point that TikTok is bringing back more the costume play part, and that people are more enjoying that, and I hope really there will be, like, a lot of new people at conventions and in general, like, at contests like MondoCon. I guess that you're giving the newbie prize is actually a good thing, because there are always some really good crafters or people who already won a lot of stuff with one costume. Maybe, I think also a good option would be, like, if people already won with this costume, one specific convention, then maybe the other conventions in Germany because can say, okay, he won this one, so he cannot participate in this costume at our convention. So, not people making one super nice costume and winning all the prizes.
Yeah, I don't like that as well. But, and you know, like, I've seen so many skits taken from TikTok on stage lately. Like, so many people are literally brilliantly taking, like, ideas from there and putting them on stage, which of course is completely different, but they do it so well. Like, they get the idea from TikTok and then they turn it into a skit. And I think that if you start seeing this, and I'm starting to see this a lot, it's sometimes very well done, sometimes less, but I think that's something that, like, as conventions and judges, people who judge a lot like us, we should take into account that, like, the new generation is actually craving for it. Like, they want to be here, but sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's not easy to access because they think it's something, like, that they cannot do. And to make it as easy as possible for them to be on stage and as friendly as possible for them to be on stage should be a really good idea.
Yeah, the other thing I saw, at least in Hungary, that I think cosplayers are a bit, new cosplayers are a bit intimidated by the veteran cosplayers who are now doing armors and everything, and I don't know, like, they are doing just a Harry Potter or a Bleach or a costume which acquires less skill, for example, and they are intimidated and they are saying that, okay, maybe I won't compete because clearly I won't win anything.
I think like one point is, like I mentioned, maybe that a person, let's say for MondoCon, if they won already like the summer competition, that they maybe cannot win like the autumn one, and maybe not the winter one. You need to check how you manage, but that you say, okay, because in Germany we have a lot of conventions, so I would say if they won like one convention in a year, they should participate anywhere else with this costume. And then they need to check, okay, what is the contest I really want to win, and then I work until that, because like I said, or they will make one big costume and win all the prizes, and it's kind of not unfair, because like they did so much great work, but as you said, for newbies, like it's so a scary thing than going on stage, and like why should I compete, why should I spend time, because sure, like it's like I know like they maybe gather some new experience from that, but sure, they want to at least have a chance. And I think maybe another good thing would be offering a person who already won, really like, who is really a veteran and won really good, maybe offering him some jury job or so, and say, okay, you will getting paid, or like getting also some small price for it, but kind of don't compete, and like give your experience to new cosplayers, because then you could keep them kind of out of the competition. Just to give other people a chance, or maybe to say, like I think something like the newbie prize, or even a newbie competition, that you say, everybody who has, I don't know how to, I think you need to think about maybe how many years they cosplay, or how many costumes they've done by themselves, and they need to kind of prove that they're a newbie, and then you have kind of newbie contest where people just can go and think, oh, I actually can win, or even said you can, yeah. I think this would be like when I think about it shortly, my ideas.
Well, like I think that that's also due to the pandemic. There has been so many people that started cosplaying at home in the pandemic. I have a really good friend from the UK who started cosplaying in 2020 at home on TikTok, and we met in London for MCM Comic-Con in May, and she comes to me and like, take me around, this is my first convention. And I was like, really? Oh my God. And it was incredible to see that light in their eyes, you know, like when they like did this for ages only in their room, because it was like 2 years. And then they step into a convention and see the community and see the colors and all the fun that you can have in a con. It brightens their day so much and their face so much. And so I think that these people are certainly scared of going on stage, but like if you make them comfortable, you know, this is like something that judges should do a lot, you know, because as a judge you have a responsibility, yes, to choose the winners, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. You have a responsibility to make the contestants have fun, you know, have a good day. They don't win. If I like someone and they don't win, or even if somebody that is lower level than the rest comes to me after the competition, I try to like point out what they did really well. If they ask for advice, I will give them, of course. I will give them, okay, this you can improve, this you can improve. But then like you did well, because they all did well. Like if you're just stepping on stage is doing well, you know, because it takes a lot of guts to do it. It's not something everyone can do. And when something like yesterday happened, like that we had like this cosplayer of Vegeta, who was really, like, she wasn't at the same level costume-wise as the others, the ones that actually won the costumes prize, but she had that brilliant idea of the Super Saiyan transformation with LEDs in the wig, which completely won the audience and us to give her best performance. So that's why I spoke of categories, because there are people that can be extremely good at something and they could stand out a lot. And if you have the right prizes, you give them consideration. And even the people that don't win, see them winning. Like, as I said, you see the big armors winning best costume, okay, but then you see the cosplayer with the costume just like yours, or the both costume winning best performance, you say, oh, maybe I can do it too, you know?
Yes, actually, I think best performance is also such a nice prize, because it takes all the costume out of the stuff and just how you're acting on stage, and you can still win something even if your costume is maybe not on the same level. what is actually, I think, even also a good idea, maybe to invite the person who won the contest to give maybe at next MondoCon a panel about sharing their knowledge, how they did some stuff. Because I think here in Hungary you have kind of special situation. I think EVA form and stuff like that is quite expensive, more expensive than in Italy or Germany. So I think here, because in German community I see more a problem always that it's really competitive. Here I think people are so nice and supporting each other so well. I think here it's more about sharing knowledge, like really that you have maybe a workshop, that you can offer a workshop to the winner for best costumes. Hey, do you want to do next MondoCon a workshop and telling people how you kind of win this competition or make this costume? And even somebody who made like a super good performance, outstanding performance with props, just asking, okay, can you make maybe us a file or some short presentation that don't need to be so long, but then people actually coming and they're getting like a lot of knowledge from those people, and they're like, oh, I could do this better next time. Or because, for an example, I was so sad yesterday that there was only, I think 2 or 3 contestants had a video in the background, because I thought you can do so much with videos in the background. They don't need to be super disturbing, like not too much going on that you cannot concentrate on the cosplayer, but they can be like such a good supportive tool. I think the Genshin girl did so well with some scenes, and this was also one of the reasons why we gave her, because I think because it's an international contest, and I think in the next round they need to have a video to even like getting a better performance out of it.
It was the first time you had a video background, right?
I think we had before, but it's not very common that they use videos.
Because like I could see that many people didn't know what they can actually do with a video in the background, because like that's a very strong feature to like employ in your skits.
I think this is also what we can give as an advice to everyone who want to be on stage. Just maybe also think about, because you're spending so much time on your costume and it should be appreciated on stage, and it gets appreciated here in Hungary, but maybe just add some like video in the background, some nice calming, or even you can just speak with your own voice to a character or tell a story or something, because I loved the vibe performance from Akane, but I think with a video in the background, and she doesn't need to make it herself, she can take some TikToks together with like sweet scenes from Vi and Jinx. With her performance would be amazing. It would transfer more, because like being on stage is about transferring feelings to the audience, and if you have like a nice video, I think this is such a strong point actually.
Yeah, I think videos could be a good tool to improve cosplay performance too, and that is a really good advice. I think when we were planning this panel, you were the one who told something like this. I don't know if I can say it as you said, but people should compare their costumes skill level mostly to themselves.
Yes, I think really when you're doing a costume, you shouldn't look, because social media is so much about Photoshop and stuff like that, and making everything pretty, and having perfect faces, and nobody has any pimples or any red stuff on his face. And I think you should really, when you're making something, you should really check, okay, what can I do better than last time? Because if you're looking at somebody, if we look at Kamui cosplay or Mal cosplay or any one of these crazy professional dudes who making big armor stuff or something like that, when you go with that and say, I want to make something like this, and have the expectation to get something out like this, you will be so disappointed, because, oh my gosh, this is so hard to do, it doesn't look like this. I think you really should check your last costume and think, oh, okay, let me think for a moment, what was really something which annoyed me or which I could have done better, and then just evolve slowly. Like, it's so hard sometimes for people to accept, because really, when I even go on social media and I Google something like, I don't know, Sao cosplay from Genshin Impact, and they're coming up just pretty Asian dudes who made the costume in like so many stuff, and then sure, like I think it's so hard to not like get disappointed in your own skill, because you're the only person who see yourself like in a mirror the morning at the convention and see you without any filters and stuff. But when you go to social media, you see like not like a real life person, you see like the optimized, filtered, Photoshop person. And you should never compare this because these are two different worlds actually.
Do you have any last words?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So thank you for coming and
Thanks
you
for having us.
Yes.
Thank you for giving this panel and thank you for your attention.
Thank you.